Hi, Cilia. Great to have you
Hi,
here with us.
good to be here.
Brilliant. We can quickly jump into, we got dragged a little bit with time, but a quick introduction about you, and then we move into the topic.
Sure, thank you. So my name is Cilia Holmes Indahl. I'm the CEO of EQT Foundation. EQT Foundation was started when EQT, the global investment firm, listed on the stock exchange. My background varies from development economics and politics from the UN to working in impact investing and really seeing that this new space of catalytic capital is needed to really be the first mover into new spaces and de-risk it for other more conventional capital to move in.
Oh, thank you so much. Great background and great organizations, Equity Foundation. If we move into today's topic of impact first investment, what do you think are the challenges there? Is there a mindset that is needed in that space?
I think it is. That's kind of the key point here, is it's a different way of thinking. I think normally in investment, everybody's trained to look at the maximum business opportunity. You're out and you're looking for, where is it that there are places or pockets in the market where other people aren't seeing that this is going to be a good investment, and you're kind of very trying to be first at understanding how the business market will develop. And I think what's the mindset shift is, well, we're going to enter into and look at the pockets in the market where there's going to be huge impact happening that we need to be happening. And I think for many of the models, and I think especially there's so much great momentum across impact VCs and Nordic and Catapult in Norway. Like there's so much momentum and energy going into that space. But it's also coming up to models that has proven the monetization, that has proven that high impact means high return. So I think in this space, you have the breakthroughs on impact, where there's a binary technology risk. And if they prove or succeed in what they're doing, they're going to be highly successful, profitable companies. It might take a little longer, but they're very, very high risk when they're at seed stage before they've kind of proven their thesis or the scientific background for what they're trying to do. So being able to take those bets. And the other side of it is more like an impact arbitrage. It's the likelihood of monetization. It is what we see for climate companies today, or climate tech companies, is that they're actually getting paid for their carbon offsets. So they're getting an additional revenue stream into their models. So we can look at a climate tech company and we can calculate they're actually getting paid for the impact they're providing. They're going to be profitable because of that. And I think we lack to see that in the social space. So super interesting models of innovative ways of getting homeless people off the street. But in the end, they're not paid for getting homeless people off the street in addition to their operation. So I think looking at those type of areas to see if society are to pay these entrepreneurs for the impact they're delivering, will this company also be as profitable as some of the other companies? And then I think it's the mindset shift of going from more software first to really going into changing the physical world. So I say you could invest in a software on top of a dysfunctional carbon market, but actually the hardware and the technology to remove carbon from the atmosphere is really, really key. And these technologies that are now being built are standalone. They can't plug into the wall in our existing systems. They have to be built from the beginning, which takes a long time. So the normal lifespan or holding period for an investment would be different. So all these kind of factors play in to that you have to be really committed to be impact first to enter into many of these deals.
Very, very interesting point. I'm just trying to pick up where to focus on, but you made a very interesting point when you said high impact at high return level. So that was something which got my eye over there. And then you talked about, again, a very deep thought over there, like software versus deeper challenges and system level change. So how do we do system level change? Any examples? What are your focus areas when you are working at Equity Foundation?
I think the kind of impact investing and catalytic capital that we're very much engaged in is kind of the first step of getting to really systemic investing. And systemic investing is when you have a transformation in society that you want to work on, and you're not just investing in VC or in one asset class with one strategy. You're actually looking at, we're investing to change this in society. We're investing in startups, but we're also investing in infrastructure. We're looking how policy is developing. We might go in with a grant to ensure that we're actually accelerating this shift in society. So understanding that the change that we want to see needs a holistic investment approach of going in with different capital instruments to change and gather around a joint change agenda. And I think that's going to be really, really interesting, because I think listening to Cedars and all the new ways of moving capital for good on technological platforms, but it also opens up for how different type of investors with different type of investment approaches can coordinate to solve a bigger goal than only the return profile of a single deal. I think the great example is circularity right now. If you go in an industry and invest in a company that's going to shift to circularity and the rest of the industry fails to do so, your company would also fail. So the return of one deal is dependent on the transformation of the whole industry.
Very interesting point, like the focus on one deal versus having a larger perspective. And I love when the words that you said, joint change agenda and moving capital for good. So I think great advice over there. What would be your thoughts to, because most of the audience that have joined in are early stage entrepreneurs who are grappling with the first level of solutions. Some have done MVPs, some have already launched the product in early stage. What would be your message to these entrepreneurs if they want to change the world?
Hopefully they would want to change the world. So my general advice would be, and I think that's also based on how we've set up and designed the EQT Foundation. So really being a platform where you as a startup get way more than capital, which is kind of the something that has resonated with the system for a long time, that it's making connection, it's pilot customers, testing the technology. So we can offer the technology to 200 portfolio companies to see if it's possible to test and scale in different ways. I think for every entrepreneur we invest in from the EQT Foundation, they get a team of 3 volunteers or from EQT really working on helping the entrepreneur scale, pulling in the resources from the platform of seeing, okay, how can we really de-risk this startup to be much more value for other investors to want to join in. So I think as a founder today, starting in this space, it's really about articulating, this is the impact I'm creating. This is my pathway for monetization, or this is what needs to change in society for my business to be wildly successful. And for a lot of the impact companies, you hear, well, when the carbon price hits this, my model will be successful, right? And then you can't go in as an investor. So it's really about saying, well, in the meantime, until I get to this point, this is my first beta version of a business model that is viable, but it will be even more viable in a different market surrounding. So really designing what's next into what's now, and understanding that you might need an iteration or an iterational model on your way there.
Awesome. Cilia, thank you so much. I'm just summarizing it for our audience because you made all these great points. You talked about this is the impact that I'm making, monetization pathway, and what change is needed in the society to enable all this. Cilia, great thoughts and a very concrete set of advice for our startup founders out here. We would like to thank you for joining us for this amazing thought and great work you're doing, and good luck to EQT Foundation with all their ambition.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.